Going to go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it. That's just a heck of a play.
Going to go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here.
All right, welcome in, guys. It's we finally got Week 12 finished, longest week in NFL history.
Took a while.
And that's why our show is a day delayed, but that's okay because we're all healthy.
Yeah.
And we wash our hands, so we don't play for the Ravens or the Titans, so we are good. It was a great weekend of football, though. I mean,
I'll second that.
yeah. Hey,
Anytime you can beat up on a division rival.
We'll get to you.
Yeah, you're gonna have your turn to talk, okay?
Aaron Rodgers, absolute stud. Some of the things that he can do with the football, not many people can do. That guy, he didn't even seem to be under very much pressure, and he was on a different level.
I don't even
How is he not the MVP?
It's not that he's not under pressure. I think he makes it look like he's never under pressure. Even when he's under pressure, no one would ever know.
Yeah.
He is so calm back there. Nothing phases him. He never gets fired up. The feet never get happy. He's just a good football player.
Yeah. And he's the right leader for any team available, right? Yeah.
And how is he not the MVP? Like, we talk about Russell Wilson. We talk about Patrick Mahomes. Some people talk about Derrick Henry or Ryan Tannehill. Maybe even Jeremy Simmons or Jeffrey Simmons, whoever. But
he's talking with you, by the way.
I get what you're saying. I'm just not going to dignify with a fucking response.
Oh man,
no.
Why are you cursing?
Yeah, that's my job. I'm the guy that swears on this show.
No, I'll give an honest answer to what you're asking.
Okay.
And I think that we've just had Aaron Rodgers for so long.
Be careful because we're live.
we've had him for so long that we're just used to it. It's just what we're used to him throwing 4 picks a year. That were 5 or whatever. It's under 10 anyway. It's ridiculous. And I think that when we see somebody else new doing something, that we just kind of get attracted to that.
Now, here's a question for you guys. Like, just strictly being fans, we've been spoiled as far as the passing games go.
Beyond belief.
As far as we've seen the change in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not we've had these debates. I have with people online all the time. The greatest quarterback of all time. Forget the greatest quarterback. Is he the best passer of all time? The way he throws a football, the throws he makes, the way he makes them, the decisions he makes, the efficiency that he makes those things. And over generations, he played in 2 separate generations. He was doing the same things when the DBs got away with a lot more. The defensive line got away with a lot more. And now he's only getting better with the rules favoring the offense. But his game is it stayed here the whole time.
Yeah.
It was an upper echelon compared to everybody else. So, would you say, I think he's probably one of the best passers of all time. He's at that Dan Marino level of the way he throws a football.
He certainly hits windows that nobody else could hit. Absolutely.
Yeah. And he's the kind of, there's one player that he's ever thrown to that was a first-round pick for a touchdown. And he brings players to another level because of his skill level.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that if there was a do-over, the 49ers would love to have him, even though I'm sure they're happy with Garoppolo. But
he looks handsome.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah.
And Rodgers is not another dude. He's done it right for himself.
And with all due respect to Alex Smith, he's still in the league, but
he's not Aaron Rodgers.
You're not Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, man. You're
that guy drinks 4 fingers of scotch.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
You know what? I honestly didn't really have an opinion on Aaron Rodgers until I heard him on the McAfee show. He's on there every Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. And now, I like the guy. I would like to hang out with him.
Yeah, he's totally.
I'd
He's
like to hang out with the dude.
He's a dude, is what he is.
I just think that it's really funny that he went from Cal, a very warm area in college, to Wisconsin, a very not warm area after October, and he still excelled. There's not a lot of people that do that.
He had more talent with him in college than he does in the NFL. Deshaun Jackson was a receiver, and Marshawn Lynch was his running back.
Devontae Adams and
wow, I didn't even know those guys.
Aaron Jones are pretty good at football.
I'm just saying, those guys have had longer sustained careers in the NFL than either of the other 2 guys. And
If we're talking about longer, I got a fun little stat here that I read, just because it popped in my head as you said that. It's completely off of the topic here.
That's okay.
Drew Brees played 255 games with the Chargers. Phillip Rivers only played 254. So they got more tread in the tires out of Brees than they did the replacement of Phillip Rivers. I just thought that was kind of unique, just because,
Is that true?
it is true, yeah.
Drew Brees was there that long?
Yeah, that's crazy when you think about it that way.
Because, I barely
that's
remember
a challenge.
him.
I'm challenging that.
Yeah,
There's a red flag on the field.
Yeah, check it out. I read it today on Reddit, is where I got it from.
Let me put my fingerprint on there, because we don't want to say my password on camera. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next thing. But Liam, interrupt us when it gets to it, because I want to know that.
But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, what he did to that Bears defense, who's a very good defense.
Yeah,
That's a different level of passer right now.
Division, it's just he just knows how to pick that team apart.
he ate their lunch, and
I also think that they're on the other side of their the Bears are just falling apart.
Yeah,
This-
that seems.
we're gonna call this a transition into the Chiefs, and Chad's gonna think that we're attacking him when we start talking about the Chiefs, but
Oh,
I'm not. I'm saying fuck the Chiefs. I don't think that the Chiefs are as good as ESPN wants you to think that they are. I don't think that Eric Bieniemy is as good of a coach as ESPN or NFL Network wants you to think he is. Watch the game flow against the Bucks, and
I watched every play.
and yes, Tyreek Hill had 200 yards, and yes, Patrick Mahomes threw for however many. They won by 3 fucking points, and they won by 3 points because the Bucks made mistakes, not because they did well. Either Kansas City got up and they just decided to pump the brakes, or their coaching can only scheme plays that they've practiced.
What I saw was, I think Kansas City, I don't know if they don't know how to play when they're ahead, but I don't think they do.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, they don't know how to put the foot on the throat, for sure.
They don't know how to step on someone's jugular. It doesn't make any sense.
It almost seems that they start doing pretty plays or these weird plays. That
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh, it's a game situation and we're up, so let's try it and see if it works, right?
They have literally the fucking alternate U.S. track team
Yeah.
across the field.
Great players.
And
Lots
at the end of the day, I don't care if they're up by 6 or fucking 60. Play to your strength. If we can't stop you, that's on us. And guess what? We could not stop them. I don't know his name. I can't understand. It's something Davis III. I think it's Charles. Not Charles.
Yeah.
Dude.
He got did dirty.
Tyreek Hill, we made fun of Josh Norman when Derrick Henry owned his life. Dude, this guy had to go home and see his family. And Tyreek Hill embarrassed him.
Marcus Peter got today.
Yeah.
And I
Did
mean,
he blow his hammy on that one or something?
no, we'll get back to it, because
yeah.
there is a thing that happened, but yeah, I don't want to skip off the Chiefs. I don't want to give the Chiefs a break. I
just don't think that they know how to call a game when they're behind. They can do what the fuck they want.
Yeah.
As we've seen last year, multiple times this year, they want to throw the ball. They want to spread the field. They want to take deep shots, which you do when you're losing.
Right.
When you're winning, you're not supposed to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I do think Bellamy or however you pronounce his name, he's going to get a head coaching job somewhere.
I don't disagree. I think he's going to get a head coaching job, but I'm just thinking back to plays that are happening, and the Bucks have a great pass rush. Barrett is great. Pierre-Paul, how that guy's still doing it at the level he's at, I don't
He's
understand.
only 8 fingers.
Yeah.
Maybe 7.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if he has feet, but he's still, he got blown up by a firecracker.
He had 3 interceptions this year or
Yeah,
something?
he's got more than Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and their linebacking core is great. They can get to the passer, but Patrick Mahomes made a lot of the plays that he made to Travis Kelce by scampering out of the pocket. Now, I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes can't be a pocket passer, and I'm not saying that he's not a good quarterback. And
Don't say that.
those are not things that are coming out of my mouth. I think that the Chiefs are the number 1 team in football right now, but their coaching is going to hold them back if they continue to coach the way that they're doing it, because Mahomes is making the play despite the bad calls that are coming in. He has to roll out of the pocket because of pressure. If teams just drop back into coverage, is he going to be able to see it? And is speed going to beat 4 deep? I don't think so.
They have Kelce underneath, though. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, but Kelce, it's not like Kelsey's been he had a good game against you guys, but he hasn't been a world beater all year.
Do you know he's number 2 in receiving this year? I'm not making myself.
Yeah, he had 200 yards against you guys.
So did Tyreek.
Yeah.
Number one, number
But
two.
But like this is what I'm saying. Like it's not like he's not getting his regular 10 catches a game.
Yeah, tell my fantasy team that.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Damn
And I mean, it's easy to look at the overall stats and say that he's having a great year. And again, Travis Kelce, great player. Everybody on the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs have an excellent team. And I'll say it again. I think that they're the number one team in football. But if they play the way that they play against the Bucs, against, we'll just say the AFC playoffs, they're not going to win.
So,
Drew, we said 59 games with the Chargers.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fine.
59,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
So 59. And how many did Phil have?
More than
a
that.
lot more than
Yeah,
59.
He played there for 17 years.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like that can't be right.
I'll
They
have to,
both
I'll have to
literally-
read it again what I read.
All
I was
right.
gonna say, according to the way you told us, Drew Brees literally has been playing football for 64 years.
He played a lot of games.
He's the old woman in the Titanic. It's been 84 years.
It explains why Miami passed on him.
Yeah,
He was 70 years old.
Yeah.
I think it kind of brings us back to the whole Chiefs thing. Gonna rewind this whole little segment now.
Yeah.
You and I said something in week 1 about the Chiefs. I think they are the best team in football.
Yep.
And I'm gonna revoke my previous preseason pick of the Bucs in the Super Bowl. I jumped on the bandwagon a little too fast. I said they're gonna beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I was wrong. That being said, do I think the Chiefs are a favorite in the Super Bowl? I still think they are. But in week 1, you and I noticed something. They can't run the fucking ball.
Yeah.
And if they play a team that can stop the run, the Bucs can stop the run. Unfortunately, we can't stop the pass.
Yeah.
There is teams in the AFC that can do those things. The NFC is the weak side this year.
For sure.
So is the home field advantage more important to a team like the Steelers or a team like the Chiefs this year, specifically right now?
I don't think there's home field advantage this year.
Yeah, I mean the Steelers had 300 people at their game today.
I'm not talking about
They got
people.
hype in there, you know.
I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about an outdoor stadium playing in the cold, shitty weather that Kansas City will give you. Pittsburgh gives you some pretty rough weather too, but in the
Yeah.
winter it's not as rough as I would say Kansas City would be. But who needs it more? Who need of all the AFC playoff teams potentially? Who needs that cold
Who
weather?
needs it
Your
more?
team.
Well, I
But
think
be serious, your team needs the cold weather.
You guys have a chance to host your first playoff game in 14 years.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that.
I don't even think there's a shot at you.
It's a fact, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you guys need the home field personally. So you guys can run the ball, control the clock, beat up on. I don't care who you are and how tough you are. When a guy like Derrick Henry hits you, it's gonna fucking suck.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
And
I
you know
mean.
what's gonna make it worse? Being cold.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean between your two, like between the Steelers and the Chiefs. I think it's more important for the Steelers to have that nice cold weather.
Well, I'm gonna say the team that needs a home game the most, and it's not even on the board, so we're just is the Miami Dolphins, because I think that things that travel is a run game and a defense,
Mm-hmm.
and you need at least one. So I'm not sure that Miami has a run game or a top-notch defense.
Really, I really like
Now-
their defense.
Now I think that
Their
if they're
defense is improving, yes.
well, look
Xavier Howard's one of the best.
look at the
corners in
games. The first time they played in cold weather with this team,
Yeah.
Denver
Again, right, it
Broncos.
was your Super Bowl call, though.
Yeah,
You,
but
you
hey,
got to give them a little bit of a
yeah,
break
they're
then.
the best 4-8 team ever to play football. But
God.
but I mean I don't think that Tua can play in the cold. Fitzpatrick might be able to, but there is something to be said about living your whole season in Florida and then going into Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Buffalo, yeah, exactly. So if Miami can't win the division, and I'm not even clinching them a playoffs, but I think that the bottom of the AFC playoffs has turned into just a dumpster fire. But
There's levels to this shit.
yeah, when it
That's what
comes
down to.
We
Yeah.
learned that last week. I
Yeah.
remember that line.
when it comes down to it, I don't want to say any given Sunday because that's way too cliche, but the Steelers could win any week, the Chiefs could win any week, the Titans could win any week, the Bills, the Colts, they could all win any week. The rest of them, they're just happy that they got invited.
Yeah.
You got invited to the party, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fans will be happy.
When it comes down to it, any of those 5 teams could potentially win the AFC, and
Who's not winning the AFC? The Raiders.
Yeah.
What an absolute.
So,
egg
exactly.
throw.
So, perfect. I'm glad that you said that because I cannot fucking believe that they gave up 40 points. And our boy Ricky.
I don't know. Have we heard anything from him recently?
I haven't been able to check in with him.
Makes sense.
You probably should.
Yeah.
But I did talk to him on, I think, you know what? Maybe I did talk to him. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's alive, I'm sure. He's supporting the team. He got one of those NWO shirts.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah.
He likes kids.
He like, as I say, he supports the
Yeah,
kids.
kids with
Yeah.
cancer. He backs
Yeah.
them.
He doesn't
Crazy.
mind supporting kids with cancer. He knows that we're going for 2 and not for people's wallets. But we were talking about the Raiders. Yeah, I took a
Yes!
I took a shot at somebody. That's a shot across the motherfucking bow. Yeah,
The Raiders, though, they
Yeah.
suck against the Falcons.
the Raiders stink.
Yeah.
But you know, I actually I've talked about it. I think Derek Carr's okay. I think their defense is okay. I'm not sure if like game planning or something got away from them there, but
The running back, he went down pretty early.
Jacobs.
Yeah, and
Okay.
like that just goes to show. Like I didn't really think he was. I think he was an important part, but like that important because their complete gameplay did
Now,
change after that.
My question is John Gruden runs an offense from like 2006.
Yeah.
And the 2002 with the Bucks, what he used to do.
Yeah.
That game, it's not transitioning now. Like, I know the Pats did it, I think it was the last one to roll with. They were the fullbacks when they brought the guys in, they slowed the game down because they didn't have the speed to compete with other teams. That doesn't work over 17 weeks, though.
But it can work against a team that's used to going fast, but it's not going to work against a team that it's better for them to go slow.
Yeah.
Like, you can't play to their strength. Be like, hey, I'm going to arm wrestle with my left arm, and you're left-handed.
They just didn't seem to be. I only watched a bit of the game because once it got away, and you could tell almost right off the hop that it was going to get away. It wasn't an entertaining match, but there was no game adjusting, not by any means. I didn't see any of that.
Yeah. Well, one thing that we need to do is give props to the Falcons and our guy Nick Newman out there, who's always supported the show.
Jeez.
Because he also supports kids that have cancer.
Yeah.
Because he's not a piece of shit. And Raheem Morris has turned that defense around. And I don't know if it's the scheming or I don't know if he's been on Zoom calls with Mike Tomlin, but that guy has figured it out.
Yeah. Took a defense from like bottom of the league up to the middle part of the league.
Do you know who else has figured it out?
Who's that?
Our friends at Joe Cool's have figured out how to deliver food. And they get it to you fast. You can order it online. You don't even have to talk to anybody. You can pay online. They'll drop it off on your front porch. You bring it in. All you got to do is eat it. That's the only part you have to do.
Yeah, that snowstorm the other day, it really reminded me of what's coming our way, and I don't want to leave my house if I don't have to.
Right, right. Now, if you do want to leave your house, definitely go sit there and have a beer because support local. But go ahead.
I don't know if I was going anywhere with that. I think you were going there or something.
I don't know. I forgot what we were talking
Is
about.
that what the Falcons and our boy Nick Newman, how they bounce back?
Yeah.
Morris?
Well, and
There we
Nick
go.
Newman's
We're
not a
back
piece of
up.
shit like other people that won't support kids with cancer. But
And Nick will be back on the show soon. Want to know
Yeah.
why? Because he supports kids with cancer.
yeah, and he's actually going to be on our next show when we go from Cool's again. We broadcast from Cool's, and we're going to have a couple guests on. So we're looking forward to that.
I had a lot of fun.
December 15th, teaser alert, you know. 49ers, Rams.
Jesus, this division. Like, honestly, man, everybody is still involved.
The Rams just won't die.
They died this week.
They died this week.
Oh,
It was
sorry.
the Niners won't
The
die.
49ers won't die.
And I think they haven't had D Ford like all year. I just read yesterday that like they're
That whole defense is
playing
banged up. You're playing without your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Every receiver you've had has gotten COVID. I think Alex got it twice. And that's
Yeah.
another thing. We don't even talk about that on this show, but like, Homie got it twice, I think. The whole
Yeah.
receiving core has got it in and out every week.
The best tight end in the league, arguably.
Yeah.
I love Travis or
George Kittle.
whatever the fuck his name. They wear red jerseys.
Yeah, I get it.
When he was mic'd up at his National Tight End Day, that's probably my favorite mic'd up episode ever in the NFL.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, like I watched the Steelers game today, and it's about 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock now. And I've had a couple pops.
But yeah, no, that 49ers team, like, they're just fucking themselves out of a really good draft pick right now.
That's what I think too.
Like, my dad, diehard 49ers fan, I remember texting him on Monday, like, yo, like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, you benched your quarterback for a reason. Tell
Yeah.
Nick Mullins, yo, we aren't paying you to win.
That's why we're talking to Aiden from Clemson. trying to get him to get fucking Trevor Lawrence to want to go there. And he was on board with it, and then the 49ers started winning again. It's bullshit.
Kind of a dick move on their end.
Yeah. Well, hey, if they want to ruin their futures, then they're welcome to.
Like, stop winning these games you're not supposed to win.
I know 3 people that didn't ruin their future. 4 people, because Liam's back there. It's those guys that go on for 2 that went to their website yesterday, I guess, right? Yeah. It was a great response. We appreciate the people that are filling out the form. Check it out. Let us know what you think. If you think something's wrong, Liam did it. If you think something's right, one of us probably did it.
Thanks, guys.
Tech guy chat over here.
Yeah, it's all bullshit. Liam did all the work. We appreciate the fact that you did it, Liam. And yeah, I wish that somebody on the Steelers was working as hard as Liam was on the website, because today's game was oogly.
Yeah, I didn't get the opportunity to watch it, unfortunately, so you're going to have to fill me in on what happened mainly, but I did see it was pretty ugly off the beginning. A couple picks like 7 minutes in or something.
I'll give you a quick recap. RG3 threw a pick 6.
Sounds great.
That's a pick in the end zone.
Vince Williams laid beside the running back for 2 seconds and then stood up.
Not what I saw.
And then Trace McSorley made the best play in NFL history.
Oh, okay.
And the Steelers won.
Trace? How did Trace get in the game?
Because Richardson got hurt.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They wrapped
I
his
think his
hamstring
ego
up.
got hurt.
Yeah. It's easy to say this right now, and we're bouncing around here, but RG3 at the beginning of the season said, I'm going to be a starter in this league next year.
You'll never.
That's not true, unless you're going to be like a DB or something.
Yeah,
I don't think his hamstring will hold up.
I just don't know if he's going to be in the league next year at all. Like, there's nothing he brings to the table anymore.
He had 32 passing yards.
Yeah, from the one highlight that I saw,
I
the read option, he dropped the
over
friggin' ball.
on RG3. I showed Shane my picks. I'm like, hey man, what do you think on these? He was like,
What was the over?
188, 187. I was like, I think you hit one banger, you nickel and dime the rest of it. I think you can do that. Like,
Isn't 187 like the murder code?
yeah.
California Penal Code.
I would have looked at that and been like, I ain't really taking that over.
Like, I was like, I can take the over on this. I'm like, they'll be playing from behind. Steelers will play 4 back. He'll nickel and dime the field. Someone's going to make a play. They have playmakers at receiver. And I was like, you can probably get the over there in garbage time.
They couldn't.
No, they could not. And then I was like, the other one was, the first one was, will RG3 throw a pick? I took the yes on that all day long.
Yeah.
It is the only bet I got today.
How many
Yeah.
passes was he in when he threw it?
The pick?
Yeah.
2.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it went to the house.
Welcome back to the league, RG.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a nice one. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like,
So,
Joe Hayden made a play on it.
he
But
jumped.
it wasn't
Put a
that
ball
good of
on
a
that
play.
guy.
Yeah.
Like, that ball hung up there on a 7-yard end.
It wasn't a Minka.
Was he not, like, maybe I'm remembering a wrong player, but he came out of Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And was he not very well liked out of Cleveland originally when he left?
Well, I mean, you have to look at Cleveland.
I get it. But he was viewed
I'd
lowly.
find
right?
a way out of Cleveland if I was him, too.
Yeah. So Cleveland owed him like $8 million, and Hugh Jackson said, "Yeah, we can find somebody cheaper that'll do a better job." And Mike Tomlin barely even let the guy hit the waiver wire, and they signed him to an extension.
What was that? Besides, like that, was that the consensus though? Like, I don't remember Hayden's name. Like, outside of the fact that he was a
He was
high
a
round
Pro
pick.
Bowler.
He was
right?
the 5th overall pick,
Yeah, he was a high round pick. Yeah.
but it just goes to show you, you could be drafted whatever position you want. It comes down to who you play with and what kind of coaching you get. If they think that you're a shutdown corner and you're actually like a somewhat shutdown corner, but you need a little bit of safety help, and they just keep leaving you hanging out to dry,
On an island.
then you look like an asshole. But the Steelers will always have like Minka sitting over the top.
What the Steelers will always have is a safety. It's so frustrating. They will always have a safety.
There was years
At
that we
least
didn't have
one.
one, man.
I can't think of it.
Mike Mitchell.
Okay,
stinks.
I guess. I don't know what the top
I
safety.
want like
he's
there
he's
was a
boss
year
safety.
that we started Mike Mitchell and Shamarko Thomas.
Well,
Come on, give me
I've
a
heard of
break.
one of them.
Yeah, and I wish that I didn't hear the other one.
You
Shamarko
guys are
Thomas.
just spoiled so long with Brian Clark and Polamalu. I think that was
Yeah.
the issue.
Oh, and right now, like they're nowhere near as good as Clark and Polamalu were, but Fitzpatrick and Edmonds, man, those
They're
guys
good
are
enough.
both studs. They're both top 10 safeties in the league.
you know who's not as stud? Is Greg Roman's play call.
Mm.
It is terrible. Like,
The fact that this guy is being fucking considered as head coaching jobs makes me want to puke.
yeah, it's still the same offense that was like. There's no involvement in any way. Read option, dink to the 5-yard. Read option, dink to the 10-yard. Read option. Let's take a deep shot down to Marquise.
Do you know the first passing first down that they had in the game. Do you know which one it was?
No.
It was the touchdown to Marquise Brown and
A
garbage
broken
time.
tackle.
Oh, wow.
And because a touchdown is technically considered as a first down.
That's terrible. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with his play calling by any means, but it doesn't help that he didn't have his running backs. That is the staple of his offense. It has to run through the backs.
So
RG3 fumbled the
I'm
first
talking
down.
about all four of the running backs.
let's just talk, like, Gus Edwards has been a significant contributor to that team all year.
Yep.
He had 9 carries for 10 yards. Sick. Justice Hill, who is supposed to be the second coming of Barry Sanders according to John Harbaugh, sucks dick.
I think that was
Their team is hot garbage. They have a half decent defense, but Marcus Peters got worked
Is it
by
Snow?
Beanie Snow.
Yeah, Snow rocked him.
And that he went to try and cover Schuster across the middle, couldn't do it. And then he went to tackle Claypool, and then now my hamstring, get me out, tap me out. Let's press pause in this game. Let's play it next week. Like, give me a break. Guys are a bunch of losers. The NFL bailed them out on their schedule.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah,
I think that is like the thing we're just not talking about. Like, yeah, you know what? You guys didn't play great. You won. The Ravens played like shit. They deserve to play like shit.
when it comes down, the Steelers have probably played shitty 3 times this year, and they won them all. So
Doesn't matter. A win's a win.
yeah, fuck it.
So I'm not going to bash your team, not bash whatever. But we keep talking about what does the Ravens know about Goodell that no one else knows.
Yeah.
Because, like, the Denver Broncos play with no fucking quarterback.
Here's what I think. If anybody's seen Billions, I think Roger Goodell is like Chuck Rhodes. He likes to get tied up and shit. And for some reason, John Harbaugh probably ran into him in that club, or he was the one hitting him with the whip or something.
And, like, so, like, the Broncos played with no quarterback. A few weeks ago when the Raiders had to play the Bucs, the game did not get postponed when they had no defensive backs. They actually made it an earlier game. And, like, I understand, like, the NFL hates the Raiders, the Davis family. But explain to me how that works.
Yeah.
When 7 defensive starters get COVID, you make the game earlier, but when the Ravens caught COVID, you kept pushing the game back.
Yeah.
What do they know about Roger that no one else knows?
The
Like-
only reason that I read it was just because it was the entire team versus like a position room.
But the actual fact, and
Like, what gag ball
I
and
say-
50 Shades of Grey
Yeah.
shit is he into?
I
that
say
they
the
know
actual
about?
fact. The unreported thing, because nobody wants to pretend like, nobody wants to say this is less serious than it is, but
Yeah.
I got hot mic'd. The Ravens players called the NFLPA and said, we are not getting on the plane if the game is tomorrow. And why was that? Because they tried to stretch it out so that they could get a few of their players back, and it just didn't work. And the NFL can't make the Ravens forfeit, because what would happen in that case is all of those Ravens players would lose their paycheck, which is good. They should all, they didn't fucking show up anyway. But all the Steelers players that are showing up also would lose their paychecks.
So that's like, how does that, like, I know obviously we're not in the legal department of the NFL.
Yeah.
So if all my guys are like, hey, we're not playing because of whatever, how is that your guys don't get paid? Like, that's when they have to work on that collective bargaining agreement.
It's an agreement that they worked out before the season. If a game gets forfeited because of COVID, then no teams get paid.
Yeah, well, that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, well, I think whoever is their PA leader probably needs to.
Maurice Smith.
What those guys need to do is they need to get Kirk Cousins' agent, and they need to hire that guy as the lawyer for the NFLPA, because that guy does work.
Yeah, he got someone paid.
Yeah.
I'm just really surprised they didn't come down on the Ravens because it was an open. Like,
Just wait. Oh, they're
not gonna
already
have
signing
to.
over, bro.
All the heat that
They had
Rodgers
another
taken-
positive test today.
I don't know, but like they know where it came from. They know that it was a guy that specifically had symptoms, didn't say anything, didn't wear a mask. He fucked it up.
The Saints lost a 7th round pick. I bet you the Ravens lose a 4th.
Oh.
That's a big one.
Like 18 players or whatever it was. Like, that's ridiculous.
22.
22 is how it ended up being.
Mm.
And Rodgers let them get away with it, right? And
Yeah.
they opened the facility, I guess, and they still had guys underneath it. It was like, we don't even talk about this on the show. But like, how do you just ignore how the NFL handled the whole situation?
Yeah.
And that's what the issue is.
They pandered to Baltimore, who was, it's easier to pander to the whiniest bitch, but when you have a guy like Mike Tomlin who just says, we do not care. Fucking tell us when to suit up and we're lacing the cleats up. At the end of the press conference, they win a game. They just swept the Ravens for the first time in a few years. And he said, yeah, that was a JV performance by us tonight.
And embarrassing.
Yeah.
It was.
And Juju Smith-Schuster comes out and says, they showed up with the JV squad, so we played down to their level. It's like, whew, can't wait to see that week next year when they play. Because I'm not sure if the Ravens are making the playoffs. Maybe they will, maybe they
Will
won't.
you re-sign Juju?
I hope so. So at the beginning of the season, if you said, would they re-sign Juju or James Conner, I would say neither. Now Connor's gone.
Yeah.
And even if it came down to it, like, I would tag Juju, but I think that he would work out a deal because he enjoys staying in Pittsburgh. And
He does little things that a lot of receivers don't
Yeah.
do. Do I think he's a top tier receiver? No.
yeah,
Do I think they can get a player of his caliber at a discount? I think they can.
yeah,
I don't think the market for Juju is actually that high. I think he hurt himself the last 2 years,
yeah. I mean,
which will help you guys, I think.
yeah, I mean, $10-12 million bucks, like, that's okay for like a number 2 receiver.
What did Robbie Anderson get paid down in Carolina?
No idea.
Yeah, 'cause I'm just
It's
going
that
off
guy.
like, I'm just
Robbie
going off like
Anderson,
what him
Carolina.
like if he can get whatever he got, and
But the thing is, like, if
I know you might
Like,
explain that.
for a guy like Robbie Anderson, like, what was
He
his
also had legal trouble, though.
what was his draft?
It wasn't. It was just his speed. The only reason that he even got him.
No, but what was he drafted for?
It was late. It wasn't early and all that.
Juju was a second round pick, right?
Yeah.
It's not like he got paid nothing.
Like, would you put it
With a
in
Carolina
Yeah.
contract? $20 million.
20 million. Yeah.
2
For how
year.
many years?
2 years.
2 year,
So
20
10
Yeah,
million.
so 10
10.
million. So
And I think Godwin's going to be in that 12 to 13 range. Kind of the same way
Yeah.
as Juju is. I think they're kind of both in the same situation.
it's a perfect year for a team to have a guy like that coming out because the salary cap's going down, and he's not the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah.
But he's a definite important ingredient of what they're doing. We've talked a lot about number 1 receivers on the show, right? Probably ad nauseum for you. And it's time for us to say that an Ole Miss receiver is finally a number 1.
It's not your dude. I'm going to say it right now. It's not your dude.
It's DK Metcalf, and the way that he played against the Eagles, and really all year, and I mean really for the last 2 years, that guy, you throw him the fucking ball and he's catching it.
Okay. So the last 2 years he's played that way, and you call him.
So how many drops does he have, Caleb?
No,
I know you're
no.
going to on this.
He's only beating AJ Brown by 225 total yards. AJ's missed 2 games on him, and they had the exact same amount of touchdowns. Oh, also, AJ has it, I think, in 12 or 13 less catches. He has less catches than DK anyway.
Okay.
So, make the Ole Miss comment
he
again.
he has less catches because he's not a go-to receiver.
He has less catches.
And he drops the ball more.
200.
But,
Okay.
But the way that
Go ahead.
You lined up your stat lines, right?
I'm not talking about stats. I'm just talking about watching the game. I know if a player's laying down and what if it's not. So for the Seahawks and the Eagles, I went in. I thought that the Eagles were going to win because that seems like an ugly game that the Eagles would win. And it's not like they got raped. Like
They covered the spread.
No, I'm talking like talk as in like I can't believe that the Eagles even kept up.
It's like and
They covered
it's
the spread.
amazing to see that a team like Seattle pulls a defense together. Like that was the best defensive performance Seattle's had all year, and they still they won by what 6?
Yeah.
On the back door. People were mad. You know how much like
Vegas won a lot of money.
Did you post that?
Yeah.
So some dude wrote a letter to Roger.
Oh, no, I
Goodell.
didn't post it yet. I'll
Okay.
post it
Some
tomorrow.
dude wrote a letter to Roger Goodell about
The corruption in the NFL.
Really?
it's well written too. It's hilarious. It's like it's
I'll post it tomorrow. He didn't say
It's
anything. I forgot to
absolutely
post it
hilarious.
today.
But yeah, he lost his bet and he wants the NFL to take that touchdown away.
He thinks Vegas should pay everybody who took Seattle, give them a running back.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like he wasn't even mad about it. Like he actually like wrote it so professionally, like in a way that makes sense.
I felt bad for him after reading it, but the on the other side of the coin, we had Carson Wentz.
I think we
And-
just like fast track DK way too quick there.
Did we? Go back to DK then.
Well, the only big thing I want to mention is Jim Schwartz. Talking about him like Megatron, and is he Megatron? Like, I think at this point there's nobody close to a body type that's in the NFL that's like Megatron outside of DK.
Well,
Who?
Chase Claypool. They have the exact same
Oh,
measurements of
don't get me fucking
everything.
started on bullshit.
I don't know. I would still say, if I'm looking at the body types.
I mean,
And does he? I haven't seen Chase Claypool flexing with that body figure.
Yeah. I mean, Megatron didn't really do that either. I mean, if you want to draw a more proper parallel for DK, it's probably David Boston. Except for production, like DK is obviously more productive.
And I'm not taking shots here, boy. I'm not. We've had enough battles with this.
Always comes back.
AJ doesn't get the attention that DK is getting now. And that's what it comes to. If you were to see the jump from year 1 to year 2, that's the separation. You're talking about stat line, school, catches, I don't care. What DK is doing now compared to first year, he's made, like, I'll admit, AJ Brown is a very good receiver. I'm not going to talk shit about him. But as he's a top 10, probably. I'll give him that.
Probably not.
All right, fine. Top 12. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice.
He's in the top 20 for sure.
But, like,
I'm gonna ask you to post that list on Insta. I want your top 20 wide receivers.
Okay.
so AJ Brown's coming here. He's getting better. I'm not going to hate the guy.
1,000 years.
1,000 years?
1,000 yards in his rookie year.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what continues to get better? The
Joe Cool's delivery.
Yeah, the Joe Cool's delivery continues to get better, and it gets faster. The app is easier to use. The beer is delicious.
I've really, like that one when we went there recently and tried the Holy Roller. I've really grown attached to that
It's
one.
legit.
Yeah.
Chad's gonna flip that.
Yeah, he's gonna fuck shit. But yeah, no, like, it's AJ Brown is, yes, he's getting better. The step that DK's made from year 1 to year 2, now he's actually taking over every single week.
I think he's realized he's playing with boys. That's all. He's finally realized he's got a big body.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's bossing guys out. You said that, I think the David Boston transit is probably the right fit.
Right.
Just David Boston was nowhere near as fast as what DK is.
Right.
David Boston was a tight end playing receiver in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
You don't make men like DK Metcalf. That being said, no one's ever got the attention that Megatron got. And I think, like, if Megatron played in today's NFL, it wouldn't be fair.
Right.
He's probably the most freakish athlete I've ever seen at receiver. He
Yeah.
would get triple team on the line and still beat them on the line. I don't think DK does that. And I think that's what Jim Schwartz was saying. He wasn't saying, I'm insulting you. You're doing everything right to go down that path.
Right.
And I think that's where it got taken in misconception. But yeah, I think DK is, right now, he's probably the best receiver in football this season.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the most diverse, and the guy's running just about every route that you can imagine from a receiver. You probably agree with that, no? No?
Nope. Go routes, slant routes. That's pretty much what he runs. All his
Go
touchdowns.
slants, out, seams, cross.
Hooks. He does
Hooks.
a lot of goes,
He does-
hooks,
yeah.
and slants. But I'm not saying,
And like-
but that's what he did in college, and he excels at it, and he does. But why not use it to your
And he
advantage?
runs a lot of overs. You guys aren't seeing that. I think Tyler Lockett gets. You see DK coming here. On this, you see Lockett coming underneath.
Right.
It's because DK's pulling the attention up top. Now Lockett's getting his underneath.
Well, I agree.
Or Lockett's getting his under and up. And that's what the difference is, right? And like I said, like, this isn't a shot at receivers. I think DK, besides probably D Hop,
Yeah.
right now is getting the most attention by any receiver.
Yeah. And, you know, you could include a guy like Tyreek Hill in something like that, but they don't even have the same kind of body type. So, like, Tyreek Hill can't post somebody up, or the other two guys can post somebody up, no problem.
Tyreek Hill ain't running a curl,
Yeah.
then boxing somebody out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, an easy question to ask you, and then we'll move on to Carson Wentz. You're on the goal line. You're throwing the ball up. Is it A.J. Brown or DK Metcalf that's pulling the ball down for you?
The only goal line opportunities that AJ has had this year, he's brought in. So I'll
So
take.
it's Metcalf.
I'll take AJ.
You would know.
So
You need to
ridiculous.
stop that.
So ridiculous.
I want you all to know that I've had this view between the two of them since before the draft, though. Like, I've always, even before the Titans took AJ, I've always thought AJ was the better receiver between the two. I've been open that Metcalf is beyond my expectations. I did not think he was going to do what he's done, but he's also, again, in that culture where it's like the Steelers. You're put in a place where you do well, and They put you in a position to do well with the routes or the job that you do good at. They don't ask you to do something that is not what you're good at.
So AJ Brown is being asked to do stuff that he's not good at?
He's having a good year. You guys keep on coming at me about AJ Brown.
I just said how good he was coming up and up, and I said he was the top 10 receiver in the league.
I just understand. He's got 8 touchdowns this year. Like he's only played in 7 games.
Not being the best at a position doesn't mean you're having a bad year.
No, but the way that you sounded, it's a facetious. You're taking
I'm just
shots at
asking
AJ.
you a question. You said why DK is doing better than AJ, and I said, so is that I'm asking you is AJ Brown being put in positions to not be successful?
No, I think that he's successful. He's being successful. If it wasn't for the drops on the Thursday night that you guys witnessed, Titans don't get a lot of national media attention. That game specifically put a big black eye for a lot of folks that you guys, when you're talking about the drops, and there was 2 consecutive weeks where he had rough weeks with drops. That's not AJ. His rookie year, he wasn't like that. The first couple of games of the season he played, he wasn't like that. He wasn't like that the last game against the Colts. And he's a fourth quarter contributor. Whereas DK, again, he's just asked to do the go route and box somebody out. AJ's asked to go over the middle, play the play action, block incredibly well. Like
it's okay to be a really good
NFL.
NFL.
Over 2 years. It's
okay to be a really good NFL receiver and not be a number 1. It is. I told you the Steelers don't even have one. They're 11-0 and they don't even have a number 1 receiver. It's okay.
That's okay.
It's
not their offense that's winning them their games. Right? It's not the Titans' defense that's winning them their games. I mean, right?
Today.
So can we just go back to Carson Wentz stopping homers on this side of the park? Because that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
you have a show to do.
Yeah.
You're mad because AJ Brown, you think in your mind is fucking the next fucking Jerry Rice. We're just trying to tell you he's not.
You asked a question. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on to Carson Wentz. Let's get you said.
So
go Carson Wentz.
Is Carson Wentz in the same category as a Joe Flacco, a Blake Bortles, and I'm going to throw in Andy Dalton as well. These are all guys that got paid big money.
Yeah.
And you're going to get mad again. There's a guy on your team that got paid a lot of money, and who knows how he's going to perform 2 years, 3 years from now.
Who are you talking about?
Ryan Tannehill.
It's a 4-year deal, but it's really a 2-year deal. Okay. After 2 years, they can cut it, but no money.
You're looking for this. We're looking at, they cut Joe Flacco too. They cut Blake Bortles too.
And they ate a lot of money doing it. We would have to eat a lot of money after 2 years.
So that's the point. Is Carson Wentz in that same category, or is he just in the wrong situation? I'm just gonna ask you.
Thank you. I think he's in the wrong situation. I think if you take him out of Philadelphia and put him in a place where he could succeed, they've given him weapons. I do believe that, but they've also missed on a lot of draft picks.
I disagree. They took fucking Rager, a punt returner. That was what he was known for. And
he just said they missed on a lot of draft picks.
They gave him weapons. They took a punt returner to be his second wideout, right? I think it's crazy.
Okay, so I'm still talking. I didn't cut you off, and you're on your way, AJ Brown. So I'm going to finish my rant now. Lily, they did put people around who they thought were the right guys. I don't think Rager is the answer. They don't have a number 1 receiver in Philly.
Correct.
I think their offense is built to have a quarterback who can stand back and move. Unfortunately, Carson Wentz and that offensive line they have isn't that.
Correct.
I think if you put Carson Wentz down in San Francisco, I bet you he flourishes.
I think that there's probably 10, 12 teams.
Yeah, 100%. I'll take Carson Wentz down in Tampa any day of the fucking week.
Yeah.
I think Philadelphia and the fan base of what they are, what they expect from their quarterback, take out their first pick overall or late in the first round, it doesn't matter. Philadelphia's a shitty place to play. And that division, as much as we make fun of it, they play each other tough. Yeah. That is not an easy division to win football games in. You're playing cold weather all the time. You're playing in fucking rainstorms all the time. You're playing in fucking snow. It is a shit place for a quarterback to go to.
Right.
Outside of Eli Manning, when was the last time you had a good quarterback in that division? Thank you. We were dead silent.
Yeah.
In Dallas, they've had a Dak, but Dak hasn't played great in that division either.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to say that Tony Romo would be a great quarterback.
Yeah.
He was a good quarterback, and I don't know.
He's definitely a better analyst than he was a quarterback.
Yeah.
And it's just...
right over to Donovan?
Yeah, I think that might be the best one, realistically, right? It's a shit division for quarterbacks to be in. It's not a quarterback-friendly division. You leave there and go somewhere else. I bet you he has a great career.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going all the way back for like Hall of Famers, you're probably going all the way back to Aikman. So.
Yeah. Like, I think it's just a bad situation for a good quarterback, and I just don't think no matter who goes in that situation, they're going to flourish.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that they were doing was a little bit more creative in their Super Bowl year. But, for example, like Kalen said, if this guy was on the Colts, he'd be an MVP candidate. I'm just going to say, like, yeah, the Colts are a great team, so that makes sense. But if he played for Carolina instead of Teddy Bridgewater, would he be still better than what he is?
I think so.
I think so, too. And I'm not saying that he's an MVP candidate, but I think that he's definitely a capable person. And his first, 2-3 years?
2 years. It was great.
His first 2 years, yeah. I mean, got banged up. They didn't invest in the O-line. They continue to invest in defensive players that are busts. And I don't know. They haven't done any favors to their O-line, and they haven't done any favors really to their run game. I think that when they took Miles Sanders, they thought, oh, shit, this guy's going to be Saquon Barkley.
It didn't happen.
No.
Speed doesn't always work in that
Yeah.
position for sure.
You need a banger. Like, Miles Sanders would be great beside a banger. They just don't have one.
Yeah.
They still had LeGarrette Blount. Game over.
For Jordan Howard, when he was there for a bit, wasn't too bad either.
Well, I think they just threw him on the practice squad, right?
Oh, did they? They picked him up, yeah?
I heard about that, yeah.
I thought he was just
That guy's still bouncing around, eh?
Yeah.
Jeez.
But you were saying, like, you were talking about an NFL executive.
Yeah, there's a few. The AFC essentially is littered with and I think that's kind of funny because I don't really hear them, scouting the NFC very much.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite a few NFL execs that are saying that it had nothing to do with Wentz. It had everything to do with the situation that he's in right now. What was more damning was Orlando Skander. Like, the guy comes out on the radio and says that a guy who played for Philly, right, before he ended his career, and he says that the reason why they're doing so bad is it's Harry Roseman. Called him a snake. Called him a snake salesman, and then he only signs snake players, and that's why that ship has been sinking. So, which is kind of crazy because from the outside looking in, I've always viewed or thought that Howie Roseman was viewed fairly well, like that he was a good GM, and I don't think the Wentz contract has really hurt him for sure. But yeah, and you've mentioned the draft picks haven't really come around, like the JJ Arians, like guy who was drafted 15 or 20 positions ahead of DK.
Well, they took like a Harry Whiteside or something.
Yeah, and then I said that Rager being a punt returner. I just don't. Like, we saw John Ross. We saw these fast guys come out of college that were one-trick ponies with the punt return. Did they think they were going to get Devin Hester? Did they think they were going to get 8 touchdowns a year or something like that out of him?
Yeah, I mean, even if you got Devin Hester, like, you drafted him too high.
Yeah, like, really terrible idea for sure.
But
But they're still tied for the division lead?
No, they're down now.
Yeah, they're down.
The Giants are winning that division right now.
Is it? I was gonna say I thought it was
Giants
Washington.
and Washington, they're tied, right?
Yeah, but Daniel Jones is not even playing this week.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. Who even knows at this point?
It's Colt McCoy. So can Colt McCoy hold the ship for him?
I still think Dallas is the team in the NFC East.
And yeah, when it comes down to it, like, in my opinion, I think, and let's hot take this. I think that's gonna be the Redskins, the football team, whatever.
Don't say Troy Aikman called the Redskins on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
Yeah.
they've been that for a long time, so it's not.
That guy
It's
can't
not.
help. He played against them like 15 years.
Yeah.
That's all he knows.
I think that's going to be the team that gives the Steelers their first loss, and I think that's going to be the team. I think that the way
the
that they,
football team?
yeah,
They're good at football. They're a football team.
Wow.
it's just their schedule's been wonky, and they're gonna. The Steelers right now have their 100% mindset focused on a Sunday Night Football game against the Buffalo Bills.
All right, so we've talked a lot about front offices. What's going on in Detroit?
I honestly, I wish I had an inside scoop on Detroit, but, you got a buddy that's a Detroit fan, right?
Yeah.
He actually admits
Yeah.
it?
He tells people, he's been loyal to a fault,
Yeah.
as I think most Lions fans have been.
Jeez.
So
Well,
let's call him up.
Yeah.
Let's call up Scarps. We'll get inside information.
All right, guys. We talked about calling somebody because we were talking about the Lions, and we needed to get an inside scoop on what the Lions are doing because we thought that Patricia was gone a while ago. They traded away everybody for football so they could practice. I don't really understand what they're doing over there. So this is Austin. He is going to explain to us what the Lions are doing and what the future looks like.
I'm excited for this. Like I usually am really excited when people come on and talk about their teams, but a Lions fan coming on, I'm really excited for the input here.
No one really ever says they're Lions fans.
Yeah,
Like the misery you've gone through your whole life.
Should we give his credentials too? I guess. He
Yeah.
coaches Queens, right?
No.
Oh,
You
different.
coach
guy.
with me.
Oh, okay.
Coach-
Different guy.
I'm glad we don't go live or anything, guys.
I know
So yeah, Austin coaches with me on the London Beefeaters. He's been coaching in London for about 20 years now, I guess. Close to. You're that old, right?
Just so that people don't think we just pulled you off the street, you know. You do have an inside scoop there.
Well, at least I coach in football. I don't know about inside with Lions, but I follow them enough.
You've been to a game?
Oh yeah,
That's
not
good
all-
enough for me,
sure
man.
not, sure.
Cool.
But oh yeah, I've been a few times Ford Field. Even back, my uncle used to live down the street from the Silver Dome,
Nice.
so I've been there for a long time.
The first time I ever pissed in an antifreeze bucket was at the Silver Dome.
An antifreeze bucket?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
wait,
were-
hold on. The first time? Like I said, there's been multiple times, and he remembers them all.
Yeah, I was tailgating in the back of the Silver Dome, and I was with my dad and like all of my cousins and the I wouldn't say aunts, just uncles, boys trip, and I had a piss, and it was like, well, where do I go? And my dad's like, here you go, and he gave me an antifreeze bottle, and that's where I went.
So you poured it all out and then peed in it?
Yeah.
That's why Detroit's such a dumb
Yeah,
state.
that's
Yeah.
such a Detroit
Yeah.
thing.
But yeah, I mean, back on topic. So, the team stinks. They traded away their roster. They do have a lot of cap space. They don't have a coach. They don't have a GM. So talk to us.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is going to be a long process, right? I don't know if they're going to be able to get a general manager named soon enough, right? I think that's the big thing where they got to start. They have a lot of free agents, like Kenny Golladay, contract year.
Big free
If the
agents.
plan is to keep Matthew Stafford, that's a guy they need to lock up, and with no foresight as to where they're going, that's a tough sell to a young player. So I don't know if that's where they got to go first. Start with general manager. But all the rumors right now are Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
You guys have heard the same, but they're going all through the Detroit news. He's a Detroit guy, the Michigan guy, Dearborn. I like him. I'm a defensive coach. So that's one I hope he brings in. He has a general manager there kind of in mind, right? With Adam Peters, right? He's a front office guy with San Francisco. So the odds makers right now are putting them as the top. And hopefully they can lock it in. He was a candidate last year for some coaching jobs. Hopefully this one lands.
So what about what do you think about the other Michigan guy that has been kind of rumored to potentially come and run the Lions? What do you think about that?
With Jim,
Yeah, the Harbaugh rumors. Yeah.
that's my nightmare.
I think that would be a lot of people's and I don't understand how it's not his nightmare. Like, who wants to get stuck in Michigan over and over and over again? It's like Groundhog Day, right?
After what he did to the Wolverines, there's no way they're going to let him go to Detroit.
I hope not, yeah. But, he's got pep in his step. He knows how to talk to some people, like ownership, right? So, yeah. Is there anything about the Lions that, like, you want them to keep? Like, you mentioned Kenny Golladay is going to be a free agent. Is there, like, some talent there that you're like, yeah, please keep them? Or are you just looking to clean house?
To be honest, a bit of both, right? Some of their O-line, they got kind of three guys on there. Like Taylor Decker, they just locked up, and he's playing well. Their center, Frank Ragnow, he's ranking high kind of in all the stats, PFF. And they just drafted Jonah Jackson, Ohio State. He's been playing well. The other side of the line, probably can get revamped. But the best part of their game right now is special teams. As insane as that sounds, Jack Fox is a punter. And he's a free agent, right? He's working on that unrestricted deal with the undrafted free agent, sorry. So, I mean, the biggest guy they have to lock up besides Golladay is probably their punter,
Wow.
right? He's got the top special teams in the league right now, at least in terms of punting and blocking punts. So I hope they bring back the coordinator, Braden Coombs, he's a young guy, and their punter. I know that sounds absurd.
Jeez. Like, I know it's been bad in Detroit, but, like, when a fan is saying, all I want back is a really good wide receiver and the punter,
Hey, they're people too.
I guess so.
That
yeah.
guy's a weapon.
Yeah, seems that way anyway.
I think that's the best part of our offense is starting the other team deep.
So, you talk about your best part of your offense. Obviously, Matt Stafford's been the guy there for years. At what point is it time to let him go? Like, he can do so many things. He still has probably another full half of his career left.
Yeah.
is it time to cut ties with him and let him go chase greener pastures, or do you try to keep him around for a couple more years, or you bring a new coach, and if it is an offensive coach, a lot of those guys want to bring in their own guy.
Oh, 100%. An offensive guy's going to definitely want to bring in his own guy. At the same time, it's hard to argue against what Stafford can do. I mean, when he's healthy, he's got a cannon of an arm. He plays one of the toughest players in the league, like documented. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers just came out a couple days ago and one of his big rants saying how he went out of his way to say how good Matthew Stafford is.
Yeah, it was on the McAfee show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally would like them to keep Matt Stafford, and even if they draft a guy, let him sit for a year or two, kind of get into the offense or get into the system, and if anything, turn it into, you know, what happened behind Aaron Rodgers behind Favre, or, you know, what happened with you had Bledsoe, and then behind you had Tom Brady. No one knew it was going to be that, but at least you have someone to play behind while you learn an NFL offense.
Now, as a fan, though, like there's 5 quarterbacks or so that could go in the first round. If you keep Stafford, are you cool if they draft one that early and using your first round pick, or do you want them to trade back then to get one of those kids?
The problem with the Lions, I don't think they're going to pick high enough, right? Like the top 2, like Fields and
Lawrence.
Clemson.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, don't talk about my man like that.
Yeah.
The golden boy.
I'm telling the guys that you want are either the kid from Florida or Mac Jones from Alabama.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 that I think that they're gonna have the better careers.
You know what? I like them both, but again, where are they going to be taking in the draft? Right? Who knows? They can go on late first, kind of early second, those kind of names. Who knows where the Lions will be sitting there, because they have so many more problems beyond quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a young guy, you're going to ruin him. They ruined a guy like Joey Harrington, right? He had all the accolades coming out.
They sure did.
Yeah, they ran that man into the ground.
You know who I always liked and they ruined too was Drew Stanton.
Hey, Michigan State, he was great.
Yeah.
That's why he liked
it.
No, I thought he was a capable quarterback. I mean, the guy played in the league for a long time.
Absolutely.
They couldn't put pieces around him.
So
that's always been the Lions' problem.
yeah. So an interesting, like, just question I might have for you. In the last, 10 years or so, you haven't had a whole lot of fun there in Detroit. Is there a team, though, that you remember that you're like, that's, like, my favorite team or like the funnest team to watch?
Well, I mean, Jim Caldwell's first year, when they went, I think they went 11-5.
Yeah, and everybody thought they were going to be on this trend upwards for the next few years after that, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you look at that team, they had a couple first-round D linemen, right? And obviously, Dominican Sue was fun to watch in his prime in Detroit. Nick Fairley when they took him. I don't know, Ernie Sims, a linebacker. These are all like high defensive players that nobody knows but Lions fans.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they were fun to watch. Calvin Johnson in his prime back then. You had Nate Burleson, Golden Tate coming in and out. Like, there were some pretty good pieces aside from a running game. But there was definitely, I would say, those early Caldwell years, or all the Caldwell years. At least they were making the playoffs, and you had some sort of excitement come December, January.
God, did that coach ever get a raw deal? Eh?
Yeah.
So I got 2 questions for you. We'll make it like really quick. Like, yes or no? Do they go for an offensive coach? And is Matt Stafford the quarterback in 2021? I know that you kind of danced around it, but I'm curious.
I think, to be honest, they go. Robert Saleh, I think, is the top candidate. So defensive coach, and if he's there, I'm going to be convinced Stafford. He's still on the books. He'll be the quarterback at least in 2021.
Well, they'll get an extra draft pick for picking up Scala because of the new rule. So I mean, that's a bonus itself. Even if he's a bad coach, at least you get an extra player out of it.
Oh, absolutely. That'll leverage the rules for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, man. We appreciate you coming on. You know, we love that you have a smile on your face, even though you're a Lions fan. And I'll give you some positive news. At least you're not a Texans fan.
Yes.
You got draft picks at least.
Yeah. All right, Scarps, have a good one, man. Thanks.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it, man. All right, so thanks to Oskin. We appreciate you coming on and explaining to us what the Lions are going to do. But we should talk about some of the first-year head coaches that are making a little bit of an impact. I think that there's quite a few of them. Like, majority of them are actually have a chance to make the playoffs if they're not going to make the playoffs. So we'll go in order. So we'll go Matt Rule in Carolina. Like, what do you guys think?
I think he's doing the best of a shit situation.
Yeah.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say Teddy Bridgewater's a starting quarterback in this league anymore as much as it's a feel-good story.
Yep.
He lost his best player. Robbie Anderson is nowhere near a top percent league. He's making it work.
DJ Moore, again.
Yeah, and that defense is overachieving. So like, he's doing all the right things there. And at the end of the day, like...
And he wasn't brought there to be defense,
Yeah.
right? So
And
that's sick.
the Saints are a really good football team. Tampa's had they're a good football team. I would say they're a great football team. They're a good football team. So like that's a tough division to walk into as a first year head coach. I think I would give him a thumbs up.
I think that guy is known for turning around programs. What he did at Temple was huge. What he did at Baylor, huge. And those two things, along with the fact that Cliff Kingsbury has been able to turn around the Cardinals, got him a look. And the guy doesn't have a Nick Saban resume. He doesn't have a Dabo Sweeney resume.
He had a losing record in college, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He's always flipped programs.
Right. But yeah, exactly. He flips the program and he gets it on the right track. And you know, as long as you can get it on the right track and you're always moving up, by all means, man, go make your money.
Yeah, he might be the only coach that's 4-8 that I think we're all sitting here saying he's doing a great fucking job. Right?
Yeah. Well, hey, if I was a Panthers fan, and I'm not even sure if I know any, but if I was a Panthers fan, like I would feel pretty good about next year and knowing that Bridgewater's probably not your guy, but he might be next
It's
year.
only a 2-year deal, though, right? So like you could go, you could chase a quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
If you finish the season 5-11, one of those kids are going to be there.
And that's the thing, like, when it comes, like, we talked at the beginning of the year, and we thought there was going to be probably 3 high-end ones.
There's 5 or 6 now.
Yeah, now there's 5 or 6. So I think that it gets a little bit more interesting. And a team like Carolina, I'm not sure if they could pass on one of those guys, but they do need a little bit of help in other spots. But if there was a guy like, and you know, I continue to say Mac Jones, if there's a Mac Jones sitting there, you have to take him. And I mean, they would probably love Trevor Lawrence, but they won 4 games. So
Trevor Lawrence is gone. Justin Fields is gone.
Yeah.
That's 1 and 2. Jets and Jags, they're gone.
yeah,
And now it's like, what's left? And it's going to be weird how many teams jump teams and how many teams trade out of that spot
yeah.
to get those guys. So
Yeah, I mean, we're willing to say Carolina, Matt Rule, thumbs up.
Sure.
Cleveland,
It's never going to be a thumbs
Kevin
up for me.
Stefanski.
dude, what that guy has done.
Yeah.
First off, he's made people stop talking about how bad Baker Mayfield is.
Yeah, please.
Baker Mayfield has had probably one of the worst statistical seasons he's probably ever had.
Yeah,
He hasn't run the ball over that much this year, which is good for him. But the way that he's run the ball like he did in Minnesota, people aren't talking about Baker anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about the Browns are 8-3. The defense has turned it around. They're playing better. And they can just control games.
Mm-hmm.
And like outside of playing the Steelers and Ravens, like they've played pretty well. They've won the garbage games that some teams have lost.
right.
Do I think they're gonna threaten people to playoffs? No. Do I think he's coach of the year? 100% at this point here in the season.
Whoa.
I'll give him it.
What do you
I'll-
say over there to a 10-0 Steelers fan, huh?
Oh, they're 11-0.
Or
So
11-0, yeah. That's
But I
right.
think if the season say, how do you not put him coach of the year?
well,
Because Shane's going to say there's a coach in his division that's undefeated.
Yeah. how do you not put him as coach of the year? Like, I think that if the voting came in, he's probably in 3rd right now. Like, you could either say that you respect somebody that's undefeated, or a guy like Brian Flores that flipped them completely around. But I guess when you're saying Stefanski has him at 8-3, how could you put Flores over Stefanski? But right now, if you
Take the Steelers out of it. Because we don't have enough time for that.
but what it comes down to is it's a shame that Mike Tomlin's never won the award.
Okay, but we're talking about new first year coaches.
Okay, new first year coach, sure, but what has Stefanski actually done that would take him above Mike Tomlin? If that's what you want to
Talking
do.
about first year coaches. Though.
Okay,
So
but
keep on rolling.
Okay, so there's only 5
We
coaches in the league this year. Then Kevin Stefanski
I think he's
wins.
coach of the year now. Okay.
If there's only 5 coaches in the year, then he wins.
All right, cool. So, how's he doing in Cleveland?
I think Stefanski's doing pretty well.
Yeah, he's doing fine in Cleveland. There's only 5 teams in the league. They're number 1.
The running backs there, he got very, very lucky being able to pick up a player like Kareem, or have Kareem Hunt on his team, have a player like Kareem Hunt on his team to run the type of offense that he loves to run and proved in Minnesota that he likes to run. Nick Chubb is is it really like is it the offense or is it Nick Chubb and the fact that he can get like 800 yards all the time every year?
Nick Chubb's a stud. Like they've done a great job in the draft and they've done a great job acquiring players. They just had such incompetent coaching before that anything's gonna look better than what they had. Like Kitchens was horrible.
Yeah,
Hugh Jackson was
so
worse.
Bad. He was like the worst sideline looking coach too, eh? He was so bad.
A guy like Stefanski, the reason that people like him is because he's not making the show about himself.
Okay.
And when you don't make the show about yourself and you make it about your players and you take the selfishness out of the game, they have 2 guys that are running the ball. They have multiple receivers that can be contributors. They might lose a guy like Odell, and they only got better.
Finding something to attack.
Like they have an undrafted free agent, Hunter Bryant.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, he looks like he's a competent tight end. So their front office probably deserves as much credit as their coaching staff.
Sure.
But
what do you think with Judge though? And moving on to the next guy.
Yeah, Judge. I think that Judge wants to be Belichick so bad that he out-Belichicked himself, but he's in position to win the division, so what are you going to say?
Yeah, I mean, if you're winning, that's all that really matters at the end, win the division.
Judge might be in the best position than any of the other guys, in my opinion.
I think we're going to see, we say that, I think we're going to say that now about Judge, it's like, being, he's the Belichick thing, but I think the long term, like, I feel like he, of the 3 that we've talked about, is probably going to be that weird guy that hangs around. I don't know why, but there's something about him that just tells me, as I see the team build a little bit, that I feel like there's a long-term success there.
Yeah, and the Giants have a history of like being good. Right?
Yeah.
And they keep coaches, which
Yeah.
is a big one.
They don't get rid of them at all.
Yeah, I mean they have stability in ownership and they have stability at quarterback generally, and they a guy like Saquon Barkley is only going to be back for next year. They have somewhat strong defense. They made a good trade getting rid of Odell. Yeah, see what they do in the draft.
They need to find a weapon.
Yeah,
instead of Saquon. And I think if they had a real weapon, like that opens up plays for Saquon, and it's going to really help Daniel Jones.
Golden Tate doesn't let him down.
Golden Tate's on the back end of his career, right? Yeah. And they knew that when they brought him in.
Yeah, I mean Slayton is. I think he's going to be a good receiver.
Really
not going to be a great one.
Yeah, I thought Shepard would have been better.
Shepard is what he is.
Yeah,
and they need a number 1.
It's again like they are in a position where they have a bunch of like 2s and 3s, and that's okay. But your quarterback has to be
a
Hall of Famer to like Daniel Jones is never going to be Aaron Rodgers. But if Aaron Rodgers was the Giants quarterback, they'd be 13-3.
Mm-hmm. They don't have the quarterback to make those bottom tier receivers that good.
Yeah, like Evan Ingram, that guy's a stud. But again, if that's the only guy in coverage.
Yeah.
So the other 2 guys that were worth mentioning, Ron Rivera, he's turned things around in Washington. I personally think that Washington's going to win that division. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, well, I think that they can win it for sure. The Ron Rivera thing, I think it's interesting is that with all of the bad press that the Washington football team has gotten in the last couple of years, it seems like nobody is talking about Rivera, like how he's just kind of brought in this new attitude, this military attitude, right? And everybody's kind of falling in line and doing their job, and that's what it is. Right?
It's just working for them right now.
Yeah.
And they have a premier pass rusher. They're going to need a quarterback. We all know that. Terry McLaurin's turned into a fucking beast.
Yeah.
Without a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then, is it Gibson, the running back there?
Yeah.
He's turning things out around too. So, like, they have all the pieces there when they get the quarterback. And I was just like, how can they take those steps forward? But I think Ron Rivera is a good fit for them.
Yeah, well, exactly. And, in the same division, we're looking at a guy like Mike McCarthy, who I think is probably the right fit for the Cowboys, but they've had a shit year. I don't think that they're headed in the same direction. Of the 5 first-year coaches, with their new team, I'd say he's in the worst position with the best possible pieces around him.
And Jerry's not firing him after year 1. That's not
Yeah,
Jerry's way.
yeah.
So they didn't get off that pot down in Dallas. It's not going to happen. Jerry's loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
Besides Jimmy Johnson, there was the only guy here that ever shipped out right away.
Right.
So,
that's the first year head coaches. Make sure you guys are checking out the website. It's goinfor2.com.
Yep.
Don't go goingfor2.com because someone else
losers.
they already copied our idea. But go in. There's no extra D. And
Don't forget, real cool, guys. Delivery takeout on the app. You guys always?